try to create triggers for yourself to create content. So
Gotcha.
I have real estate agents. I work a lot in multifamily, and whenever someone's in those buildings, if you're gonna open a door, I'm like, hey, if you're about to open a door, can you take out your phone and hit record and like do a reveal?
Yeah. Hey, you're listening to Cracking the Code, the podcast for leaders building and growing service-based businesses. If you are in legal or medical or financial services, if you have letters behind your name that qualify you to do what you do for a living, you are in the right place. I am your host, Rob Riggs, here to bring you intel and access that are designed to decode how technology can be and should be impacting your growth. All right, let's get into it. Welcome back to Cracking the Code. Today's guest is somebody who's thinking about search visibility in a way that most marketers aren't. So when everybody is debating whether SEO is dead or AI is going to replace Google, Mike Forgie is focused on the simpler truth. People still need information, and businesses that show up in the places where people are looking, whether that's Google or ChatGPT or Perplexity or the host of tools, the ones who win are the ones who show up. Mike, thanks so much for being here. And why don't you take a second to introduce yourself for those who may not know you?
Nice. Thanks, man. I appreciate the intro. So
Gotcha.
I own an agency called Next Step Connect. We help local businesses. That's where our main focus is, local communities, local service
Okay.
providers. And we help them show up in search engines historically and today. And now with the onset of like AI, we transition to that as well. So they're
Sure.
kind of related. We can get into like why the transition is there, and actually some pretty big news through Anthropic and everything like that. This that just happened recently, but we've been focusing on this since 2014. I've been doing this.
Really?
Next Up Connect's been an agency since 2014. All started with me just picking up freelance and being like, "This is what I want to do. I want to help people
Yeah.
and grow this business." It's been awesome.
Sure. Okay. So you started in 2014. What were you focusing on at that point? Was it purely SEO, or were you starting to see the writing on the wall in terms of AI coming down the pike?
2014 was like still people were running like PBNs and things like that. So we're like
Yeah.
very old school. I was at an SEO agency and
Okay.
I just saw that like the way they were doing things and not the way I even saw things like going. And I was like, I want to do this the way I want to do it. I see how they're running their model. I'm going to start my own agency and or just at least start full-time freelance and then build the agency. But at that point, AI really was not on our radar. The way I look at it, it's just mainly was search engines. It was, at that point, I think it was Google. They were saying Google, YouTube were the top search engines. And then there was like
Right.
Yahoo that people used and stuff. So
Still. Uh-huh. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And when Google like picked up YouTube in terms of the ownership of the platform, you could see kind of the writing on the wall. You've got number one and number two search engines all in that ecosystem. So it's important to play by the rules that are like, rewarding the behavior that they want to see, right? You mentioned kind of SEO isn't dead, but it's obviously shifting. People's behaviors are changing. Can you walk us through what's actually changing versus just what's noise in the industry right now?
So I try not to separate the two as in being like, are we optimizing for AI? Are we optimizing for search or for search engines? We are optimizing for information. The the way you gotta look at them is like Google has algorithms that parse all this stuff. AI has, we'll call them like database like of information that's out there, and it serves when you query it. So they're kind of very similar where they have to have
Hmm.
something to pull from. Like AI is not creating information for you. It's going out and finding it and then summarizing it. With strict information, it's giving you a summary and it's not citing anything. But with something that it needs to deliver, like local, that's when they're like, I need a business by me that does this. It's gonna
Yeah.
it's gonna allocate that next set of traffic to you because it needs to give you that information. It needs to give that information that it's a local business that they can contact or go to. So
Right.
the way we can kind of look at them, there's SEO, which is search engine optimization, and now all the different names, GEO, AIO, all that stuff. I like to summarize it as like we do search. It is search optimization. If you are typing in a bar that finds something, that's search optimization.
Sure. Yeah, we've kind of redefined like SEO as kind of search everywhere optimization
Yeah,
because you want to be found, right?
it's a good
But
one.
the so local service businesses are exceptionally vulnerable because you've got like massive companies looking for national traffic. But the first thing that when you're typing in for a local service business, say you're typing into Google or what have you, the autocomplete is starting to give you, it knows what you're going to type in, and then it's going to plug in the near me because it knows if you're in Omaha and the service provider, it's not going to give you somebody from Jersey if you're looking for a plumber, a roofer, somebody local to you, right? What are local service businesses getting wrong about how they're approaching this audience?
Delivering informational content that doesn't have any like substance to it. So
Hmm.
if it used to be like write these blogs, they're going to get, you'll get topical authority about that, but that's not going to give you traffic to your site the way it used to. You'll see things like
Hmm.
impressions go up or something like that, but it's not going to be um, directly delivering you traffic if you write a generic article. It should be catered directly to your audience in your area and have information gain, which is one of my favorite things to talk about is when
Yeah.
you use AI, it's taking, like we said earlier, it's taking information from everything that it gathered and delivering it to you. But if you take that and now repackage it and give it, it's just not doing anything. You're not putting anything new in there. That's where we need that information gain. So your unique experience as a business in that area is highly valuable.
Absolutely. And what we've seen is that the people who dig deep, they can take a popular opinion or they can take a controversial opinion, but when they have their own take, that's when you're starting to see some traction, right?
Yeah. And it's good
Um,
with data. Data is really important.
oh
Like
yeah,
doing your own information findings.
for sure. So, like 20 years ago, people were pleasing the audience of one, the people who were, browsing a website, making a decision. Yes, I'm going to compare a few options, but this is the person I'm going to work with. And then search engines came along, and now we've got an additional audience. How does is AI kind of that third audience that you have to make happy, and they each got their own little the perspectives on how we're going to show the options to the person searching, or is it a little bit different for you?
Do you mean from the search, the actual platform delivering it, you giving information
Uh,
to them?
yeah, well, from a holistic, comprehensive, like I see, the three sets of eyeballs, and they were, human, 20, 25 years ago, the turn of the century, and then Google entered the picture and captured. That was a second set of eyeballs that we had to please. And then third, kind of AI came on the scene a few years ago, and now it's kind of stacking, it's layering the way we show up in terms of how we create content that is going to get businesses listed and to grow their business.
Yeah. One thing I will go on that is like we're from the age of like keywords. We used to not
Yeah.
because we didn't want to type this whole thing in. So we just created like, this and this, and like that was it with keywords. Now we're back to long sentences, which kind of ties uh search engines to AI, where there's that voice to search algorithm.
Hmm.
That's a really good one to look at. People are asking like, they're talking to their phones, they're talking to like a thing like pucks on their wall and stuff. That's the voice to
Yeah.
search. You're asking AI the same way. So that natural language is really good. When we look at it now is we're all adapting to that. So now we're on a conversation method. So that's a good way to tie this a little bit together is it's very conversational. And think of the conversation someone's going to use to find you as a business. What is the best blank in blank that does blank? This is my favorite one. What are dog friendly restaurants
There
in
you
this
go.
area? And I'll define dog friendly as that, uh, like not just let the dog outside, like, so,
Okay.
or non seasonal, because some people are like, oh, when the patio's open, we do it. So that
Yeah.
changes things. That's kind of like a little bit of way those tie together. Um, and all right, so then you try to think of it like that is like that's how our conversation. We're also trusting these things more. Search engines, we were like,
Yeah.
it's going to give us the best information. We're trusting that that algorithm is going to deliver us. We're trusting that
Mhm.
Google is doing its research and delivering us the best thing. That's business. It made money through ads. Its actual business was supplying information. We talk to AI like it's our friend and we trust it
Right.
blindly, but it's all catered to you. So it's really just a lot of it's just pleasing you. So it's a really interesting relationship that we're going in.
For sure. In your opinion, how much is AI catering to us, like being very confirming
Yeah, very
versus like
confirmed.
I can prompt ChatGPT all day long, stop giving me what I want to hear, like call me to the carpet when I'm
Yeah.
wrong, but it's still going to be like, that's very observant, Rob. Thank you so much. And then give me the answer that it thinks I want to hear. Have
It's
you have magic ways to get around that?
it's almost too much. I stopped using ChatGPT for a lot of that stuff.
Same.
I
Yeah.
started using a lot more Claude. I've built so much on Claude starting last year. Very happy I did it
Yeah.
because the way everything's turning out. But
Right.
it was having it question me and giving it when once you dive into AI, like AI person facing, like the standard person, like we're talking to phones, we're doing things like opening some apps, going deep into it when you really need something analytical and you dive into something like Claude Code and start supplying like skills and MD files and things like that, that's when you can really have it question you and be like,
Mhm.
don't agree with me. Let's work through this. And it really will because you're setting up guidelines that it's constantly calling. It's not losing memory because those files, like those MD files, are like in the back end, it kind of remembering it. And you can clear stuff and then call back to it. It's a little bit that next layer for people who are really trying to get in there and build something that's going to be a little bit more objective. Obviously, it's going to eventually kind of be like, all right, cool. I think we're doing great. It's like, nah, let's just focus on business. Don't be my friend right
Right.
now. That's where I see
Right.
that kind of AI versus client facing. They want you to be happy. They want you to use
Mhm.
the platform, so they want you to be happy.
Nice. Hey, this is Rob Riggs, and I wanted to take just a second to tell you about Code Conspirators, our sponsor here. And we are a technology focused performance marketing agency serving professional service firms. So that's legal, medical, financial, engineering. If you take a test to do what you do for a living, we help you grow your practice with websites and apps and software and performance marketing. That's organic, paid ads, retargeting, conversion optimization. And we're also doing a whole host of things with CRM, AI, and automation that's been bringing our clients tremendous value. If you're curious at all, go to codeconspirators.com to learn more. Now back to the show. Yeah, it goes back to your dog-friendly restaurant. Like AI
Yeah.
is very intelligent, but if you don't give it some context, it's going to misfire every time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so fun. So you're talking about Claude, and I'm with you. So ChatGPT has progressed first quarter this year, but Claude still blows it away, in my opinion. In terms, you look at how I'm using it. People can use ChatGPT for service providers near them, all day long,
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh,
We've
yeah. Totally
got
agree with you there.
so yeah. But what so for the person that is not building apps, they want surface level, like who's the best service provider, whether it's an eye doctor, a dentist, a roofer, a plumber. What are you seeing in terms of providing the best responses, the best overview in terms of handing people who are searching for a service provider, giving them somebody that is going to work best for their case.
So, you mean like, so what would a handyman use or something like that, just to like really get recommended by these AIs?
Right. How can they show up for their best client?
Yeah. So one, this will start Google business profile, fill it out. One of the reasons why you have to get verified by Google, which is it's a trusted platform and use that
Right.
word whichever way you want, but it's going to verify you and say, hey, this is a real business. That is getting fed to all these databases.
Mhm.
And Claude is now using, that's why I said earlier, I was like, yeah, that's the new, like, information. Claude
Yeah.
is using Google business profile information for its local delivery. And now if they're using it and Apple is using Gemini for its information, and it says that its maps is going to be not going to have private. It's going to be super private and not share your data. But if it's built with these, Google Business Profile is spreading very far and wide. And
Right.
when you ask something like, "What's the best near me?" reviews are going to be a huge asset of that. And where do most people leave reviews? Is usually on Google Business Profiles, Yelp, things like that. But it's a we choose if we could choose one for local, get that one done, go for it, and like get those reviews, keep it updated, optimize that profile as much as possible.
Right. So we used to tell people to focus on pleasing Google. We're focusing on search engine optimization, right?
Yeah.
Focus on Google, and everybody else is going to follow along. You got 93% of the market cornered anyway, and who uses Yahoo or Bing or whatever. But what we're seeing now with AI pulling source material from all the different platforms is really important to make them all happy, right? What does that look like in terms of effort that you're performing for your clients and pulling that out, making all the source, the single source of truth, if you will, the triple source of truth. Like what does that effort look like? Is it three times the effort, or can you copy and paste across the different platforms to make them all kind of feed the same information?
So I think the variable here is that the AI is never going to always give the same information every time. Some
Yeah,
instances it might be like if you're blowing it out of the water, like you are the absolute best, you have 1 million reviews compared to everybody else's one, like you're going to usually come up, but it's going to rotate a lot for every different person. And often when people ask the same question a couple times or in different variations, it's going to change. The best thing you could do is just constantly update, like what I said, with information gain, new stuff that you can like. It's just anything that's going on in your business, stuff like that. You push that to best things you could do. Push it to your blog, your like it does, or case studies. You don't have to use a blog. The blogs are just the easiest way to update stuff. But updating
yeah,
case studies, that's also information gain. That's new, fresh content. Appeases the caffeine algorithm for Google. But having that new information creates a flywheel. You take that, you could ask your AI any way you want, or whatever tools there are, make me a short form video, make me like a post about this, make me on LinkedIn, and just have that spread around. If it's pulling all that information, more chances that these AI will pick up on it. Also, your brand gets spread further. So it's really good. It it seems much more daunting than it is. It used to be very daunting. Like I wrote this post. Now I have to turn this post into 100 other posts. You could spin these. And a lot of them are lead them back to your website. Every goal should be lead them back. So if you're writing a post on LinkedIn and you want them to go into like a blog post, have that snippet, hook everything and go, for more information, click here. Give them as much as you possibly can. You could do the whole thing or a different version of it, but always try to get them back to your website or a lead magnet. Totally fine. But what I'm trying to get at is like, it's easier to put it everywhere, but you don't have to be everywhere. I
hmm
not on TikTok. I know that that's like it's a huge asset for getting a lot of traffic.
yeah,
But if I'm going to double down, I'm doubling down on people who are saying, I need help here and I want help now. So they actually click, visit, take action. I don't want them to be watching other videos,
right.
happen to see mine, and have to decide that I'm important enough when they're like, I could be looking at other things that's going to stimulate my brain. They're
Yeah,
not going to
sure.
really divert as much. So I just consciously made that choice. But if you want to dominate for your brand, do things like that, that's where you go out there. So yes, it's important to be as much places as you can. But if you have to choose one, continue to build on assets you own and then dispersing.
Absolutely. And then figure out where your market is and engage with
Yeah.
them
Oh
there.
yeah. That's
So,
obviously the
so
biggest
right.
is where's your market?
Yeah. Nice. So 10, 15 years ago, when SEO was at the forefront, people were trying to game the system. They were putting white, keyword stuffing. They were putting white text over white background so people didn't see it, but search instead. And then Google caught onto that, yeah, pretty quickly. But what are the tactics now that are overrated that people are trying to game the AI system that you should just kind of let it go? That was so 3 years ago.
I don't want to say this with 100% confidence because it's again like everything's variable with this. Um,
Right.
Only relying on Reddit. Remember when it was like Reddit was every answer? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they get all their information from Reddit. It
Yeah.
is a branding piece. If
Mhm.
you if it's not pulling from Reddit or anything like that, you don't necessarily have to be there. It is a bonus. If you create an incredible like subreddit and everyone's talking about you, like whatever, that's an incredible way to become a thought leader. But like the handyman that's just in this small town that only wants businesses in this town doesn't really need to go on Reddit. Or they can go on that city's Reddit and start talking, having a conversation, but it's not that single source anymore. And it's great for a resource, but it's also not. So it could be, they could just be like, listen, too many people, which I've if you can control the post like Facebook, that's why Facebook links, posting your blog or your links on your own Facebook does not get you traffic the way links from like a higher authority, like a Forbes.com type thing,
Right.
that values. But from your own posting, you control that. So Reddit's kind of the same
Mhm.
way. I'm not going to say don't do it. I'm going to say it had a lot of weight, like way too much weight at first.
Right.
Things that can be verified are probably where you should focus more of your attention.
Absolutely. And what we've seen 2026, Reddit became kind of less of a good source. And who
Yeah.
knows? But um, it was crushing it for a minute. But
Yeah.
yeah, cool.
I mean, agencies popped up like we do all Reddit optimization. I'm like, I wouldn't bank on that. Just that agency, but can work in some instances.
Right, right. If you had to choose perfect technical SEO with mediocre content or perfect content with mediocre kind of technical setup, what wins now, 2026 Q2? Where do you focus your time?
Man, so that's a catch 22 because if you have incredible technical, you're
Uh,
going to be your stuff will be scanned and you will be put on search engines. Scannable, indexable, and everything like that. The content creation, if you have a no index, then you're kind of not doing anything. So it's a catch 22. You
yeah,
can't really choose either of them. And isn't technical isn't always perfect. To have zero no index could be
yeah.
bad because you don't want to index your login. You don't want to index your
Right.
login pages or your client portals. So that's like a little bit. I really can't answer because you can't have perfect technical and be like, well, my content sucks because the chances are it's not gonna index if it's thin content anyway. But if you have incredible content and none of it can be found, I have incredible
Yeah.
content written on my computer right now and nothing. You really
Good
do
luck
need
ranking for it.
you
Yeah.
really need a balance.
Sure. Good, cool. The okay. I know we're coming up on time, but what have we not talked about that you feel would provide good value to the listeners here today?
Really, I'm going to harp on this a little bit because it's something that I tell every client to do is go out when try to create triggers for yourself to create content.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I have real estate agents. I work a lot in multifamily and whenever someone's in those buildings, if you're gonna open a door, I'm like, hey, if you're about to open a door, can you take out your phone and hit record and like do a reveal? And
Yeah,
then like
that's
so
great.
like it opens the door and you see this whole thing. Or if you're like talking to somebody about this fine detail, like the countertops, the nuances, pull it out, get that macro and take a tight photo of it. And then take a photo of it in the room. Create triggers that remind you to get that content. That's the
Yeah,
big thing because a lot I ask for photos and they don't have to be insanely great just to keep things updated. That's a really
Hmm.
big one that can like really help people. And then I wrote about this a few times and I always reshare it eventually is case studies and reviews are a flywheel. If
Yeah, I
you
totally agree.
if you have someone that's like, oh man, this was great, go. Can we talk about this real quick and get a case study out of it? That case study is now new content. That it's new content on your site, gives you that caffeine algorithm, gives you that unique information gain. That case study can be mentioned on service pages, blog posts, which then can get turned into social posts, which then can also help on lead magnet, like or lead magnet pages, landing pages, things like that. But then other people find you, they hire you, they have a good experience, it happens again. And it's just a
Yeah.
flywheel of content that can help you create it. So highly suggest, and I'm guilty of it too. And I actually have a whole, I did it this morning. I was like, what is my process for getting these things now? Because
Yeah.
it's tough. But yeah, that's a big one. If you can get that, Google Business Profile makes it easy too to just be like, go get me a review. So
Right.
a good one.
It's a yeah, self-feeding flywheel. Love it. And because that's going to you do the work once, you might as well get better distribution from
Oh
it, right?
yeah.
So it goes back to atomic habits. Like look for that trigger. What's going to signal that? Oh yeah, I need to pull out my phone and get this happening.
I think
Cool.
I read
Well,
that. I
yeah,
think I read that when I made
yeah,
up that trigger. When I was like, when you touch
right,
something or mention something, do this.
for sure. Nice. If somebody's interested in learning more about your unique approach, where can they find you?
Best place is LinkedIn. My name's
Yeah.
Mike Forgie, and it's Forgie. If you find another one, you're gonna see me. Got long hair, but it also says pronounced the number four and letter G, so it looks
Yeah.
very long. It's easy to find me. And I post every weekday,
Cool.
just because as I find stuff, it doesn't even matter if like the following, anything like that. I just like to be like, all right, cool, this is something interesting that I found. Like, just put it out
Yeah.
there and it helps me stay interested and looking rather than being like, oh, this is stale now. It's like, nope, I found this interesting. I'm going to talk about it, post it up. I just love having it out there. And I give away like the case study stuff all the time.
Right. Love it. Well, I know we will be connected, and we'll make sure that a link to your LinkedIn
I
is in the
appreciate
show
it.
notes as well. But for sure, man. Thank you so much for being on today.
Oh, thank
And
you, Rob. This was great.
All right, that was Mike Forgie with Next Step Connect. If you are running a local service business, specifically in the real estate industry, and you're wondering why you're not showing up in search, or worse, you're showing up, but you're not converting that traffic into revenue, go back and listen to this again. There's a link in the show notes to his LinkedIn profile. And there's also a link to the diagnostic that we have made available to you for where you're not showing up, where you're leaving money on the table, the opportunities that your competitors are taking from you day in, day out. It is super powerful to see where you are strong and what opportunities you have to do better. Diagnostic is free. Check it out in the show notes, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for tuning in, and see you soon.